Hello everyone. As some of you know, every year the district convenes an annual meeting. It's a great opportunity to get the fiscal health of the district. It's also the time where we set our levy and we set our annual budget. So, like last year, we thought we'd do a video recap of some of the highlights of that meeting for you. So last night, on Monday, October 23rd, the district convened and we officially adopted our 17-18 budget, which is approximately $41.6 million. So where does all that money go, or what do we use the financial resources that we get from the state and our local taxpayers for? Like most school districts, most of our expenses go toward personnel. So as this slide shows, more than 75% of our general and special education expenses go to personnel, 52.8% for salaries, and 22.5% for benefits. That's pretty comparable to past years. And where does this money come from? As this slide shows, most of our funding still comes from our community. A total of 52% of our revenue for our general and special education funds comes from our local tax levy, our local taxpayers. In terms of funding from the state, there are some changes to note. General state aid is down. For the current fiscal year, only 34% of our revenue comes from general state aid. Funding from other state sources is up. This year it makes up more than 7% of our revenue. That is largely from an increase in what is called per pupil aid, a categorical aid provided by the state of Wisconsin based on the district's membership over the last 3 years. As you can see from this slide, our per pupil aid from the state increased and is projected to increase again in 2018-19. The additional funding provided by this increase is approximately $650,000 for the current school year. The good news is that these additional resources will reduce or delay our future deficits. But even with this additional state money and state aid and the per pupil aid, we are still relying more and more on our local taxpayer to make up the burden or the bulk of our revenue. So what does this year's budget mean for our local taxpayers? This slide, as you can see, shows the history of our mill rate since 2005-2006. As you can see, our mill rate will increase from $11.28 per thousand of assessed valuation to $11.44. This slide shows the estimated school tax impact on a homeowner for this current year based on last year. This represents the school portion of a tax bill on a $200,000 house, assuming an increase in value from the previous year. There's also a couple other items I want to note. As many of you know, in 2014, our community passed a recurring referendum, a recurring operational referendum. And as you can see from this slide, that support has been vital for our district. The colored portions in the slide show those years when we had the non-recurring operational referendum. You can see how that permanently became part of our revenue limit after the 2014 referendum. Without our referendum, the bars representing 15-16, 16-17, and 17-18 would have actually gone down instead of up. If you recall, the 2014 referendum steps up our recurring referendum every year for 4 years. This is year 4. So after this year, we will have $7 million in addition of tax support provided every year to our budget. The second item that I'd like to point out pertains to our enrollment. It's no secret that for some time we've been declining enrollment. This slide shows our September membership for the last 12 years. Our most recent applied population study forecasts that trend will continue into the near future. That has a direct financial implication for our district because Wisconsin Schools funding formula is based on your per pupil. So it's something that we have to continue to monitor. That's a snapshot of our financial status here in the district. More information about the annual meeting is available on our website. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call myself or Erica. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for the lives you touch of our students. I hope you have a great day and I hope you have a great rest of the week.